the American Museum for the Moving Image. And any bougie New Yorker knows what that is, because they read about it in the New York Times, they read the New Yorker, and they have listings of artistic import, and they say, and there's always something about the American Museum of the Moving Image. It's kind of like a film museum. So any bougie like me who moves to Queens will recognize the American Museum for the Moving Image as a place. So I thought, oh, they're polling there, so I should go to the American Museum for the Moving Image, because I've heard of that before. And so I go there, and they are so nice. They are pleasant. And I'm thinking that, I just got Queens. I hope that I'm registered. I really hope that I am not unable to vote in this election. And it was important to me. And what happened was, I offered to show them a copy. Well, this is just a coincidence. A copy of my New Yorker. With my address on it. Okay, so every week I go to the bougie mailbox and I get the bougie New Yorker, which is it's a cool, it's like a great magazine. Period. Amen. However, it's considered a Manhattan-esque magazine for the people in the know. All right.
Down, Pookie.
And
Get down.
So.
Get down.
Where was I?
Something about who cares about the vote.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, no. So I go to the American Museum for the Moving Image. They're so nice to me. They don't want to show that they are interested in any ID whatsoever. No. Don't show your ID. No. They're like, they're so sensitive to the idea that they are going to ask for a voter ID, which is contrary to New York law and is, something that's in the news pretty often. And they're trying hard. They're trying hard not to ask for ID or anything of any kind, and they put in your name, they put in the first 3 letters of your last name and the first 3 letters of your first name. And so that should be your code. So maybe there are 2 that overlap, like Juan Hernandez. I'm sure there are lots of them. So I'm sure that there's further identifying information, but I am the only ANTGRE in New York. So they find me. And they say, okay, you have to go here. It's at this location. You're allowed to take a picture of this of the map to get to the other location. You're allowed to take one picture of this so you know how to go. And it's just this map. So how the hell am I going to follow that map? I'm going to have to use my own Google Maps to get there, and I'm cool with that. But they tell me that I can take a snapshot, so I take the snapshot just for the hell of it, and they give me this little address, and they tell me where I am, and then they said, once you get there, you'll have to be assigned to a particular district, okay? And so I said to him exactly, and I don't know if I used the word ladies or women, but either one would have been correct in this situation, okay? I probably said ladies, but let me just express it as women. And I said to him, the women in Manhattan always knew where to tell me to go, and I just got there right on time. And sure enough, when I went to vote in Manhattan, there was never a problem. They ushered me down the floor. It's like they almost walked me to whatever particular district I was in, because New York voting is complicated. And they try to smooth it out for all of New York City. But New York City, the truth is, was governed by the Voting Rights Act, or certain sections in certain counties were. And so they're sensitive about that because the Voting Rights Act was basically knocked down. So that included the protections in New York City, which is very ironic in a way. And ironic is not the right word, because ironic means saying one thing and meaning another. And I'm saying what I mean to say, so ironic would not be the proper word to use in this context. Okay, so anyway, I go to this new place where I am, I'm like, oh, I don't have a mask. I'm afraid to go in. And then someone says, sir, And I hate being called sir. I hate being called sir. I had a mask, and it was a special mask with a long string, which I was able to tie it around my neck and pull it up or put it down. It was like a necklace, basically. It was a necklace. And so I walked in and I said, I'm not sure I have a mask. And the man said, sir, do you realize you're wearing a mask? And I said, oh, I thought I lost that. And I just pulled it up and I walked into the polling place, and it was weird. Well, let me put it this way. It's a 1970s basketball court, but they put rugs down. But after COVID, when you're enclosed in a space like that, it's just weird. And so I get to line 1, and they're going to tell me at line 1 where I need to go. Is it door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, or door number 4? You know what I mean? It's like they have like separate tables. And tables 1, 2, and 3, there are 2 workers there who are sitting silently with masks, and they don't want to give the slightest appearance of any bias or not even like laughing at your jokes, because God knows I like to tell them, even if they're bad sometimes. And I'm like cracking jokes, and this black woman, I'll never forget her, came over, and she's helping, and they're checking me in, and they do the ANTGRE, and sure enough, they find me, and they let me in, and then they find out that I'm going to door number 4. Like back in the day, they had this TV show called Let's Make a Deal. So you could pick, do you want what's behind door number 1? Do you want behind what's door number 2, or would it be door number 3? And the stakes are high, because if you pick door number 1 and it's a new car, you're good. But if you pick door number 3, it's like, and then they show a picture of a donkey or something. And then they show you what you lost because you took the wrong chance. And sometimes a new car would be beaten out by a new house or $1 million. Nah, I don't think they went to the 7s at that time, but rarely would a new car be beat out. All right, so I didn't choose any of these doors, but I end up in front of door number 4, which behind it has these 2 guys who remind me of characters from the movie, and you wouldn't know this movie, but we can watch it if you want. Young Frankenstein. And there's one guy in Young Frankenstein who has cross eyes, and his I wish I could remember his name at this moment without looking it up. I think it was Marty something, and Marty had these cross eyes, and that was part of his comedy. He would just like look at you cross-eyed. And then there was the other guy. I think it was Mel Brooks who played Frankenstein. Come to think of it, I'm just looking at his face, and I'm trying to think who played that guy. I guess it was Mel Brooks who played Young Frankenstein. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. And, oh, yes, the Delta variant. Anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about the guy and the character from Frankenstein.
Yes. Okay. So Mel Brooks was a cool guy, you know, and he looked fine. You know, he wasn't a gay man who like was worried about his abs and stuff. And, you know, but he dressed up in the proper, you know, he had the right makeup, people, let's say. And they used prostheses, and they made his like head like with a dent. And the person who was Mrs. Frankenstein happened to be this woman named Madeline Kahn, who shared a birthday with me. So I don't know what difference that makes, but it kind of makes a difference. I share a birthday with Madeline Kahn. I'm gonna give you from the 2 best to the worst. Okay, Madeline Kahn. No, actually no. I just have one good one and one bad one. Madeline Kahn and Michael Jackson. Those are my 2 birthdays share with people. However, I am born within 3 days of Keanu Reeves. I won't tell you which person has.
August?
August 29th. I'm a Virgo. Whatever the F that means.
Michael Jackson's birthday is in August.
And it's August 29th, and it's my birthday. Assuming that was his birthday, I mean, that's what they listed it as, and people like think that's great, and I think like, I don't think that's so great myself. But the fact that I was born within 3 days of Keanu Reeves, or maybe it was 4, is hot to me. And honestly, I think I'm the older one of the two. But of 4 days, I mean, that's just, but on top of that, I ran into him once. And it was within that 4 days. And I looked at him and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be like, oh, I loved you in the blah, blah, blah. And I haven't even seen any of these John Wick movies, frankly. I don't care.
Stop begging, Cookie.
And, but I said to him, you and I, or what did I say? I either lied and said that he was 3 days older than me, or I told the truth and said he was 3 days younger than me. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, wow. And then we turned and walked away for a second. And then we both turned around and looked at each other and said, happy birthday. What's your reaction to that? It's a true story.
I mean, that's cool.
I mean, like, oh, is that not like more than cool? That's like,
meeting a celebrity.
no. Stop. There's a special, delicate relationship you play with celebrities if you're a New Yorker. I mean, you're going to run into them all the time, okay? You're going to want to say, oh, I loved you in this, and I loved you in this, and I loved you in this, and blah, blah, blah. And once I was basically not attacked, but yelled at by a celebrity on the street in my city for something I didn't do. I had two other dogs. One of them was Rudolph, and the other one was Mimi. And Mimi and I and Rudolph all got along. And we went out at night, and the deal was that they would pee right in front of the water hydrant, and then I'd walk them around the corner, and they always had like these rags on the street. You could pick up a rag and pick up the dog shit. And so that's the way those guys and I had the deal. Okay? And so it just so happened that one night they decided that the deal would be broken, and it was probably my fault. But nevertheless, I went outside, and I was very unlucky that they decided not to wait until the corner. And, you can make up for that. Because there's always garbage in New York City. You just have to, look around, and there's something to be thrown away. I mean, more than now, honestly. The problem is now, there's no garbage, but there's no garbage cans, so where do you throw the dog shit? It's like, what do I do with this? It's problematic. Every way. Anyway, so the dogs go outside, Mimi and Rudolph, and they take a dump right in front of the building. And I'm thinking, well, I got this. What I got to do is just stand with the, what do you call it? You call it NAF. What was it you called it? Non-animal NAF. You were talking about like the what you record when you're walking around the Parks Department. What was it? The N. Anyway, so I pick up the dog shit and no, I don't pick up the dog shit. I know that there's a piece of paper somewhere for me to pick up the animal feces, and I just have to own it. Okay, I stand by the feces that I've created, wait for everyone just to basically get away from me, and I'll find that piece of paper, and I'll dispose of the garbage properly. And immediately, I hear this woman yell at me. And I don't know who it is. She's yelling it from me behind. And she said, "Where's your bag? Where's your bag?" And I turn around, and it's Julia Roberts. That really happened. That really happened. And then she's walking down the street, kicking her heels, and someone runs into her, and she's like, "Oh yes, it's me." And I find that piece of garbage immediately, but I picked the wrong garbage because I went to the newsstand across the street and I picked up this little scrap that said Daily News, and I picked up the scrap of Daily News, and I picked up the dog shit and I dumped it, and then I came back and they said those little strips are for reimbursements from the Daily News for papers we don't sell. So could you please give us, it was either, maybe I took two, I think they said, could you please give us $4? And I said, what? And then I gave them $4. And so that like tells the story about publishing in New York. But anyway, so back to this polling place. What happened was I'm sent to the table where there is Young Frankenstein #1 and #2. It's Marty, someone or other, and Mel Brooks in major makeup. And they're both there making faces at me. One of them has like this like little, you imagine like a really, really big guy with a really, really tiny hat. Just imagine that, okay? It's comical in and of itself. But in addition to that, so he's got this tiny, tiny hat, and he's got this big, big body, and he's got this big, big glasses that are just like, wow. I mean, it's like, it's like scare fashion. It's like so bad. It's so bad that you don't want to see it. And he's got these big clunky glasses, this tiny head, this big, big body. That's scare fashion. You know, that's what I took it as. And it was scary to me. And so he's standing in the background, and then the guy in the front is like looking up at me as he's looking at my address. He's giving me this cross-eyed look. And he's like he can't find my address. And I'm looking, and he's looking up and down and up at me and up and down. And then he finds me. It's only because I had the help of this black woman who came over, and you know, she was trying to make excuses for them because she knew what they were up to, and she knew that there was going to be a problem. And she came over and she said to them, "Oh, you just spelled it wrong. You just spelled it wrong." They were trying to scare me away. She was coming back and giving them the excuse, what they call the fig leaf of plausibility, in that they didn't really want to turn me away. They just spelled my name wrong. And sure enough, they did it right when I had the help of the volunteer. I don't remember her name. Maybe I wrote it down. I know I gave her either my email or whatever. But she helped me out. I didn't know who she was. I just felt the whole experience was a disaster. And at one point, I said, I'm getting out of here in a second because this is driving me crazy. And I felt trapped, and there was no water. And I said, where's the water? I've been in here for how long? And I don't have water. And I'm like, okay, I can wait a little longer. But I have this mask on, and it's this enclosed environment, this basketball court. And the black woman, I don't know what to call her. What do I call this black woman? I mean, she's just nice. She knew what was going on, and she was there to protect me. And what do I call her? I mean, Nina Simone? I don't know. This woman was there to protect me, and I had no idea what was going on. And I almost blamed it on her, because I didn't know her exact role, because she didn't want to say to me, oh, I'm a volunteer, whatever. But that became apparent later. And because you have ranked choice voting for the first... Did you vote, by the way? Excuse me? Did you? Did you do that ranked choice thing? Excuse me? Did you? Yes. Did you do it, or yes or no? You don't have to tell me who you voted for. I'm just asking. No. Okay. All right, then. I did.
Vote for,
No, don't. Let's not get in. No. You want me to tell you who I voted for? You know who I tell you I voted for? Excuse me. You want me to tell you who I voted for? You know, she was my second choice. All right, and who's my first choice? You want to guess? You want to guess who my first choice was?
What else is on there worthwhile?
Karen Garcia. All right, so it's like it's a mixture of like my Wile's got the idea, she's got the passion. Is she gonna get elected? I want to get her up there, but I'm not sure how the other populace will go. All right, Catherine Garcia. I like her. I think she's a good manager. I think she's right, and so I vote her first. And I tell both of them on Twitter that you guys were one of my first two choices. I didn't say who was who because I didn't think that would be appropriate. And who knows if anyone even looked. I just wanted to tell them. And I trashed votes 3, 4, and 5 because I don't trust any of the other people. And, if Adams wins, he can convince me that I'm wrong. But right now, I don't trust him, okay? So I made sure number 3 was like Babyface Diamond or whatever. And then I purposely left 3 and 4 blank. And I made a little note, blank, just to be sure that it was not overcounted or undercounted. I wanted those 2 women to be at the top. And you know what the truth is? If one of them didn't run, come to think of it, maybe the other one would have won. Who knows? I mean, they really vilified Maya Wiley, and yet she came in at least third by the modified projections. So there you go. Anyway, so I'm back at the precinct, and they have the ranked choice voting, and I'm trying to figure it out. And because I'm a lawyer, I fuck it up. And, you have these boxes that are both horizontal and vertical, and you're supposed to make sure that you don't put the 2 in the same horizontal column as 1, because that would be an overvote. In other words, you're voting for 2 people at the same time, and that's not proper, and so that won't be counted. And there's no way around not counting a vote like that, so that'll go wrong. So immediately I just thought, let's just get this over with. And I did rank the first 5, and I don't know who I chose for 3, 4, and 5. And honestly, 3, 4, and 5 were not. One of them was not like Babyface Diamond or whoever the throwaway candidate was. I think I did it with a little deference to the process. But then I realized I had messed up the ballot, and I thought, this has got to be correctable. This is the first go around, so there's got to be a way out of this. There's no way they can impose this new voting system on us without allowing us to correct, because the rules are new, and it's kind of like, you got to explain it to everyone in many languages, etc. So I just knew that I was protected by that presumption that a new voting thing would allow at least 1 error. I mean, and it turns out it allows 2 errors. So it's 3 strikes, you're out, and hopefully you'll get it by the 3rd time. But I only needed it by the 2nd time. But we went back, and there's 2 ballots. One of them is for a judge. I don't know why they have 2 ballots. Maybe this is the way to do it. One of it is just for a judge, and I wanted that. I looked up the judges, and I decided I want that judge to win. It was for a small court. Anyway, and so I said, this ballot is good, but that ballot is bad. Should I give back both, or should I just give back 1? And they said, we'll take back the bad one, and you can keep the good one. I'm saying, will this work? Given that I have to cancel the first one? And he said, it should. Okay, good. So you got this little folder, and I have the 1 ballot with the judge, and they give me the new ballot, and I go over to the corner where you have the little, basically, what do you call it, a carol? That's what we called it in middle school, a carol. And it's a standing carol. You don't sit in the carol, you stand in the carol, and you fill out the ballot, and you mark your little bubbles and whatnot, or you put your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm there, and I'm trying to figure it out. And you know what? One of the 2 from Young Frankenstein comes over. It's the guy with the crossed eyes, except he's not good looking. And if you saw the movie, you would not think the guy with cross-eyed in the movie was good looking. He just looked different. This guy looked 10 times worse. And he's looking up at me with these cross-eyed from below, even though he's taller than me. He bent down to hand me this little like scrap of paper I left. And I was like, wow, he's trying to scare me. And I thought, I'm going to take this seriously. Because now I see for myself once again that there's something messed up in this city. And I won't say what the New York City Board of Elections is, if it's a state entity or if it's a city entity or what it is. I don't know what it is. They say it's independent but apparently there's always something wrong with it. Okay, so I should have blamed the New York City Board of Elections for this, but I just blamed the system, and I trashed votes 3, 4, and 5. And in retrospect, I'm happy that I'm still happy with the second decision, because I think that I think that was the right decision. And his coming up to me and giving me that like look, he was part of the problem. And so I go up to that place, and I want to make sure that anything I put in the ballot is going to be properly recorded. So if I don't vote for someone, that means there's no vote for... I knew that. So anyway, so I gave them the ballot, and then... No, the next thing was to scan the ballot. And so I had to go to the back and go into the scanner machine, and I put through my new ballot for the mayor. I put through my new ballot for the mayor, and and that went through without any problem. Then it turns out that the vote for the judge didn't go through. And I thought, wait, I mean, that judge is on a different ballot. I don't know why, but let's let the judge go through too, because actually I looked her up and I thought, you know, I want to vote for that judge. And it wouldn't go through, and the Nina Simone came back again. Who knows who she sang? That's just the name we chose. She came and she helped again. And she walked me over, and I said, you know, if this works out, and this woman came over, she was about 6'3". She had this long ponytail. It was scare fashion. You remember I said that before? She had this long ponytail, brunette, and she was buxom, if you know what I mean. She had a bosom, and she was. You know, if I were a man, I would look at her and say, she's hot. You know, not my. I mean, in like she just had this suburban feel. I just, you know, I felt like, you know, if anyway, it wouldn't be attractive to me, but I could see how to another man it would be hot, or how to someone else it would be scary. And it was like scary to me because in addition to wearing this big leather print top, she was wearing a fucking shield. Do you know what a shield is? Do you know what a shield is?
Captain America has one.
No. Well, maybe so. But there's within the 5 counties of New York City and its police department. Do you know what a shield is? It's just like this special little honor. It's like a jewel. It's like, you know, it's like your badge and your shield are so very important. And your badge, you show it to everyone. Your shield is more important. You put that someplace special, okay? The shield shows that you are liable as a police officer and you are responsible as a police officer, and you know, perhaps there are benefits too, but it's the special thing. It's like the diploma. It's like the paper that is signed that said, you know, you're admitted to the bar. And they just make it like this jewel. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's special, and it just shows that you are a police officer. And she's wearing it around her neck. And I saw that thing and I thought, what are they coming after me because I'm acting bad in some way? I thought that, and I said to her, I thought maybe the cops sent you because I'm acting out of, but she tried to smooth out the ballot. And she's like, so Nina Simone is there and she's like, yeah, just smooth out the ballot. And I made a joke. I said, well, if after all of this, a woman in a leather print top comes out, smooths out the ballot, then that will be a good story. And she wasn't laughing. She wasn't laughing. She smoothed out the ballot because there was this little crimp, but she smoothed out the ballot. We put it through and it didn't go through. And I thought, I looked up this judge. I told you that part. I looked her up and I wanted to vote for her. And then I'm like, so the cop, whoever she was walking behind me, and I suggest to her, I wasn't being serious. I said, well, why don't I just file a provisional ballot? And then if there's like a major discrepancy, they will see my affidavit. And she whispered to me, sounds like a good idea to me. So in other words, she just wanted me to like make my vote if there were like a contest. And these days, there's always a contest. And so, and Nina Simone said, no, come. And she got the right ballot, and we got it through, and she walked me out. And at one point, I like put on a little theater because I wanted to pretend I didn't know who was at fault. And so I said to Nina Simone, I said, I'm giving this 3 more minutes. If it's not, I gave this excuse. I thought that, I left my bag somewhere, and I knew I left it at the little Carol, as they're called. I knew I left it there. So I threw a little theater, and I said, if I don't find my bag, I'm walking out of here. That's something that I'll discuss later. I don't think it should be celebrated, but I think that it was correct according to law. We'll talk about it later. That's a separate thing. Let me just finish the story, please. Let me finish this story. Lauren, before we get into an argument. Okay? Before we get into an argument, excuse me. They treated him unfairly under the law. I agree. I'm not getting into anything else. Okay? I agree with that. You're getting me angry now. Okay, so as I'm walking out of the place in Queens where they were trying to suppress my vote, may I finish that story, sir? May I finish that story?
I want to allow to release them.
May I? Well, shut up. Okay, shut up. Okay, may I tell that story? Okay, so I'm walking out and I throw a little theater. I pretend, I say, all right, I'm giving you, if I don't find my briefcase, I'm walking out of here. And I knew exactly where my briefcase was. So I just went and I got the briefcase. I came back and by then, Cheech and Chong, Young Frankenstein, and whoever behind the counter had got their act together. They give me the right ballot. I scan the ballot, and the woman in the leather print top, let's call her, I don't want to make a comparison, but she, I can see how a man would think she's hot. Not me, and not if I were straight, but still. Anyway, they all walked me out, and then the woman with the books on top kind of drops off, and I said to the Nina Simone, I said, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I said, that was what? That was Alabama 1967? And she looked at me and she said nothing. And I walked away and I had to walk around the block to find the city bike. And when I came out to the city bike and I was getting on the thing, there was Nina Simone and 2 other black women waving at me. They were waving at me. They were telling me that I got it. Do you think I got it? Do you think I got it? What was going on in that polling place? Do you think I got it? Lauren, do you think I got it? It's important for me to know if I told that convincingly to you, because that's how I felt. I'm not like saying, oh, you got to believe me. I'll swear on my mother's grave, whatever. Did it sound like I was telling the truth? Because it was the truth to me. And I gave details to try to flesh it out to convince you that I was telling the truth. To Did you think I was telling the truth? Just honestly. Just honestly. It's either a yes or a no. Excuse me? You said yes already. I'm asking your father's opinion.
I would say no, because you don't know what's going on with Bill Cosby.